And so here, in, I believe it's chapter 7, it seems fitting that we kind of conclude our look at the individual Breast Force members by looking at the leader of the team this time around. And that, of course, is my custom, Leozack. And this is the most extensive custom of the entire team. And, of course, we're going to look at his Breast Force partner. This little lad on his chest here. We're going to cover both of these guys in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, that's right, man, hit that notification bell because it'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, NL, the Autobot family, and have a look for me everywhere across social media. And this is my custom Leozack and Lionbreast. Lionbreast is the only one of the Breastmaster partners who I painted in a fashion that more closely resembles the original release of the character rather than the original animation of the character. Largely because I had to use the the Siege Ravage mold for it, and it was largely impossible to sort of build up the frill that I guess is supposed to be the line mane around the head, so I took the liberty of painting it a different way. In terms of Liokaiser himself, many people have used one of the Combiner Wars plain molds for it, but I didn't quite feel like that worked as well as one of the Power of the Primes plain molds. And we'll sort of see this guy next to the original, not custom use. And as you would well expect, because this is by rights a mold that would be used for a Limbot, we have to do an alternate conversion in order to get him in like a chest piece mode so that he can attach to kind of round out our finished Liokaiser. Nevertheless, this was the most extensive custom in the whole thing. If you've been following through the chapters, Chapter 1 started us out just with the packaging with Ion Scythe, that's what I'm calling them, and sort of my thoughts on what this guy was like stock in a package. Then the next several chapters looked at the Limbots and the custom edition of their Breastmaster partners. Then in the last chapter we got a little more in depth by looking at the first part of the torso, that being Jaguar, which was a massive custom in and of itself. But this guy even tops that, not only because there was a ton of custom paint done here, but there is an entirely new custom head attached, and we did of course add the Lionbreast. There's a lot to explore here, and we're going to get through it as quickly as we can in plain mode, in robot mode, and in the configuration for chest mode when we head over to the table and take a closer look at these guys. And yes indeed, in our ongoing look at my custom Combiner Wars Platinum Edition Liokaiser, we kinda clue things up with the individual bots with the leader of the group. That of course is going to be Leozack and his partner Lionbreast. And you might be looking at the screen right now and thinking, hey, that is Power of the Prime's Blackwing, or Darkwing if you will. That's not Leozack. No, it's not, but it was the basis for what I did as a Leozack. As such, we kind of go from Blackwing looking like this stock Power of the Prime's release to this very different look for the guy. I love how I was able to take this particular mold and rework it in such a way that I really feel like these look like two vastly different characters. Naturally, they are two vastly different characters, but I really like the way that the mold looks unique for each of them. Of course, the focus here is on the leader of the group. And now that we can focus on the leader of the group here being Leozack, the first question that I have been asked is, why did I choose to use Blackwing to make this guy? Well, because it was the most logical choice, honestly. I was able to get the wings up in a configuration that resembles his G1 look. I had to do a little less paint because the shoulders and the toes were really already the color I needed them to be, as were the thighs, as a matter of fact. That left me with the torso, the head, and the arms for the most part. Now, naturally, he has his partner on his chest here, and this is the only one of these Breastmasters that I painted in a scheme that is closer to the mold that was used rather than the animation that was used in G1. Honestly, using that Ravage mold, it would have been hard to do it based on animation accuracy. That would have made it significantly more difficult in my estimation. That being said though, one might also ask, what happened with the laser beak that came with this one? Because I've used a bunch of Ravages by now. This is one case where the laser beak that came with this one actually is being used by one of the scraplets in their collection as laser beak. So we had 4 Ravages, none of them used as Ravage. All of them used as Breastmaster partners. We had 4 laser beaks, 1 being used as laser beak, 2 being used as buzzsaw and hell buzzsaw, and the last one being used as hawk breast. And for the record, in case you're kind of new around here, while I did use Ratbat to make one of the chests as well, what did I do with the accompanying rumble? It became a custom painted version of the little known cassette Enemy. And everything kind of culminates for the individual bots with this guy. I gave Blackwing good scores across the board a long time ago in episode 392. I said his paint was a 10. In this case, with what I've done here, honestly, it's pretty close because his toes and feet should be this tealy color. The lower legs should be this mix of white and gray. It was 2 gloss paints that I mixed together, done very thin coats on, so that's what was done on the lower legs. The thighs, they also should be a teal color. His main torso, pretty much that same sort of gray color. When it comes to his arms, his hands, and his forearms should be that same sort of grayish color. And the shoulders and the forearms, so his hands and his biceps should be the same sort of gray color. And his shoulders and his forearms should be the teal, as should the wings. Now, this is also the one member of this team where I did get a third-party kind of add-on piece, a 3D printed piece. It was the head. And it's supposed to be used, if you're doing a custom of this guy, with the, I believe, Combiner Wars Air Raid mold. But this is not quite that same mold. The way the head attaches is a little bit different, so the head and the neck are a little longer than I would like for them to be. But you know what? It works fine. It holds fine. It is solid around the ball joint. It is fine. I did originally build a nose and kind of a front piece on the head, on the stock head that was included, and painted that. But it was, you could do it, but you would also kind of look at it and say, something's not right here, man. It was good enough, but when I discovered that this head existed for the $10 or whatever it was, I said, yeah, you know what? That works perfect. So I got it. I painted the face, that same sort of grayish color, the eyes red, obviously, and the eyes of the beast head on top red, and the rest of the head naturally in that same sort of teal motif. I'm going to say that for paint apps, he's a 10. For articulation for the guy, it's the same as it was before, so I'm going to say it's a 9.5. It would be nice if he had ankle tilts. That's really about it. What does the articulation consist of? Well, simply put, the head can go left and right. It can look up and down. We can get these wings moving like up and down. They can move back a little bit. The shoulders, they go kind of up and around and down and out to the side. Nice soft ratchet on the elbows of this guy. Bicep swivel. We can also take off his breastmaster partner, and we can even close that up. That's what I like about this too, is you have a ready-made hole for one of these partners right there, and you can even close it up, and like it looks beautiful. We have a waist on the guy. We have hips all the way out, really, well, no, not all the way out to the side. I stand corrected, not quite all the way out to the side. But they can go back, they can go forward. We have 90-degree knee. He stands very stable. I absolutely like this guy. We don't need to do the conversion because we've already seen it, but nevertheless, here he is in plain mode. And yes, indeed, he does his conversion just fine. You may wonder, why is there a little bit of purple left in there? I kind of like the highlight, but more importantly, trying to put green in there would only rub off anyway. It really wasn't worth it to me. Some people have also asked, hey, why are the back of the legs still the dark gray of dark wing? Because the short answer is, I was too lazy to paint the back of the legs. Simple as that. I didn't see the need. Naturally, he can still get in his plain mode just fine. The wings certainly still do move. And we can still place his partner on top of him. Speaking of his partner, it is once again the rather well-known Ravage mold. And by rights, this is supposed to be like a winged lion. And the animation would give him green wings, which I can't really give the guy wings, so I put the green kind of on his upper part of his legs, front and back, and a little bit on his upper back. His face would have also been that green, and he would have had like a frill around his head that I guess is supposed to be like a lion mane, and the rest of his legs and stuff would have been black. Now, that's fine. I was able to do the legs basically black. And while I can't give him wings, really, I was able to kind of add the green. But doing the head, for durability, it seemed like the best way to go was with the like G1 release that had the head as like a white color or like a silver color. Completely different from the animation. It's unfortunate that I had to do that. And as such, I think this is the weakest of the chest masters, chest minions that I've done. I said the others are about a 6. This guy's about a 5. I suppose one could argue it's still about a 6. I don't know. I'm in a good mood. Let's say it's still about a 6. I'm not going to lie. Before this is said and done, I might forget that I said it was a 6 and might go back to a 5. Let's be realistic. Now, naturally, because we're talking about Leozack here, my intention is not for him to be an arm or a leg, but he's going to be the chest of Liokaiser. And there's a few methods that I've seen done in order to accomplish it. One is this, where you kind of position the arms this way, put the wings up, and you flip down the nose cone. But in order to accomplish this as a chess piece, you need to pop the legs off of their ball joints, which is fine if you don't mind doing that, but it is a little bit of parts forming. Nevertheless, this is a very viable option and it works quite well. Or, I've seen a similar method done, except this way you get to see the nice orange canopy, and you kind of like manage to have this sit a little higher on the body, which you might prefer, you might not. And I've even seen a method like this, where you could have the nose cone flipped up, or you could leave it down straight. I will say this, lest we forget that we already do have a torso piece. So when we look at this guy, we have to remember he's becoming a chest piece, much like we saw with Combiner Wars Groove, for example, or Blackjack from Menasor, except this time the chess piece is not going to be a Little Legends class iteration of a character. It's going to be a full-on deluxe. So you want to consider that. Which method will I use when we put this guy together? Well, we're going to find out when we look at the final chapter, the combined mode of Liokaiser. Liokaiser. I wish I could get straight which version of that name I want to use. I think it's Liokaiser. That sounds right. I don't know. But at this point, I would say that the average for this guy and his partner is still quite high. Honestly, we've had pretty much 8s, 8.5s across the board. The weakest being Hellbat with about a 7.5. And really the only reason he was weak is because there's a couple of loose tolerance issues. Most notably, a shoulder that doesn't like to lock in, and one elbow is a little looser than I'd like for it to be. Now, before we get out of here, even though he's in this mode, let's take a look at the entire team to see how well the individual bots with their partners look together. Now, call me crazy if you like, and granted, we've had a long journey to get here, especially for Leozack, whose head is a little bit to the side. But this, to me, looks and feels like the Breast Force. This, to me, looks and feels like the Destrons, if you want to call them that. It's all 6 members. It's all of their chest minion partners, imperfect as it might be. But I feel like that this works very well. Now, of course, this is a bit of a departure from what we got in the actual box set, but I think it works better, and maybe this is what we should have gotten all along. In terms of Leozack, just as like a final reiteration here, overall, we have an average between about a 6, 6.5, and a 9 this time. Overall, I would say Leozack is easily an 8, maybe an 8.5. I like how this worked out. Are there other options for making this team? Absolutely. But this feels right to me personally. And I can't wait to see all of these guys in their Liokaiser glory. So there you have it. The entire team with their partners, all of their partners there. And now you know the configuration that this guy will get in for the final combination, the final combined mode. And the custom head helped a lot. I did do some custom work on the stock head, and it sufficed, but it was a little unsightly. This is so much better, and I wish I could get a custom head like this that would fit the Voyager version of my Jaguar. If so, I would certainly add it. Nevertheless, we have all 6 members now. They all combine together, and we have all of their partners. So next time around, when we kind of conclude off our look at my custom Liokaiser, we're going to look at that combined mode, see how functional it is, see how he looks, and we'll even see about where we could potentially add the little chest pieces, because if we follow the siege line, those little chest minions really serve as like shielding and armor. Perhaps Liokaiser could also use them in the same manner as shielding and armor. We shall see how that works out. Maybe it won't work at all. Nevertheless, I'm pretty content with this guy. I love the way that he looks. He is largely accurate to the character. And I think that had they kind of done something like this, along with something like an official Jaguar, and just put a little bit more love into that box set, I think we could have had a real standout stellar combiner. But we'll see about that next time. For now, let me know what you think about my custom Leozack here, along with his little partner Lionbreast. You know I love to hear from you guys. As always, please, if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, use the donation link that's down in the description. But more importantly, hit the subscribe button. That helps me out so very much. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every day, you do make a difference, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here for the final chapter of this saga, Inside the Videos.